Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen as well as watch on YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. We do welcome giving on this channel, and thank you in advance. We are kicking off this video slash audio about those who are selfish keeping up strife. Selfish people keeping up strife. Some days back, I told you in the spiritual realm, I took some time out with the Lord, and in the spiritual realm, He let me know about strife. How this is something that we're going to be battling with, saints as well as sinners. 2021 isn't going to get any easier for some individuals, but it's going to get worse. But those who lean on the one true God, our Creator, it's not going to be as bad as 2020 has been. Because some folks are saying, I can't do these things in my own strength. I can't love. I can't be peaceful. I can't bring about my own healing. I can't get along with family members, friends, and co-workers in my own strength. I need you, Jesus. I need you, O Heavenly Father. The greedy, the selfish, the self-absorbed, self-centered, the argumentative, the ugly, the disrespectful, the arrogant, the control freak, the defensive one, the mean-spirited, they are among all of us. Ego gets in the way. We have been so guilty at times. Looking out for self. Leave your ego on the shelf. If it's not the man walking on the woman or using the woman is doing it to the man. I don't want you going to work. I don't want you looking out for yourself. I don't want you doing too much of anything, but you can do all these things for me. Holiday season brings about the selfish and the greedy. Give me, but what have you done for me lately? I'm telling you that the Holy Spirit showed me. He said, look around. I want you to look closely at what is happening. Take a trip down memory lane. During the holiday season, there have been women, especially old school households, women who were responsible for the planning of the holidays, women who were spending their money, a lot of it. Once they started working to make sure that all is merry and bright. Women who have complained, got upset. All of what I did for you and I don't even get a gift card. For some of you all, I told you a long time ago, I left those holidays alone. It was only, 2019 where I said, okay, since the kids were really small at the time when I did break out the money and the decorations and all that, I said, 12 years later, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do something nice for all of them. And I let them know in advance. But I felt in the spirit, you're not going to do this again. You're going to stand strong in your belief, and you're not going to do this again. See the picture to the left? That's the type of spirit that tends to wake up during a holiday season. What have you done for me lately? I can hear somebody in the spiritual realm. But yet you want the argumentative daughter, argumentative son, the greedy mother, the greedy best friend, the player, the pimp, the hustler. Look at this image right here. That's what they do. Got that king's crown on their head. He's going to make either his enemy his footstool, or he's going to make any gullible, naive individual who's willing to keep buying, keep doing for, while he sits back. Some of you women, you can be free of this foolishness and have some money saved up in your retirement plan, in your emergency savings, if you would stop doing some things. See, some folks just simply like to shop. And they'll say something like, well, I just love, helping and doing for people. I'm sure you do, but at the end of the day, some folks just have an addiction. Point blank and simple. You just like getting out and about. You just like spending up your money, and maybe your man's money too, or whoever gives you money. Am I telling somebody's truth? Oh, she's on her throne. She got people, she uses men. She got people who hold her up. But is she holding anyone up? See the image in the center? Now she got her crown on her head. And she got all those men. She got the one who listens to her and he does for her. And the man who sleeps with her and he does for her. And she got the man who owes her because we had babies together and so you owe me. And then she got the man who is one of her relatives who adores her ever since she was a little child. And she got, come on, and she thinks that it's all good to behave in that way. Because I'm a bad you know what. That's what some females call themselves. And after all of what I've gone through, here he is. His boys lift him up. He got a crown, or about to put a crown on his head, because he's arrived. He managed to manipulate so many people to the point where I made it. I got them doing for me. And even kids think that there's something special because mommy said I'm special. Daddy told me I'm special and I can get away with whatever. And some of the siblings are looking around saying, you always was up to no good. Always getting what you wanted. Oh, you're the favorite until you're not the favorite any longer. So you get an idea of the type of folk that are stirring up strife. Continuing on with the prophecy. Continuing on with what the Lord showed me in the spiritual realm. This time I had to put images with this. Going into the scripture, what's causing strife these days? Well, the focus is going to be on this COVID-19. I know some folks don't want to hear about it, but you see, we got a lot of people that are dying with each passing day, and it's only getting worse depending on the time that you're listening to this audio/video. There are some cities that aren't being mentioned as much, but they're still dealing with all sorts of folks being rushed to the ICU units. While other cities it's not so bad, but people are still dying. That's what some people don't want to think about. Not that long ago, God moved on my spirit to put up a video/audio entitled Do Not Resuscitate. Of course, there was another title. We ended up switching it, but the point is that somebody's going to have to make that decision, and that's going to cause strife, and we got into that. Well, the disease itself, the things that are connected to the disease, the folks who are still above ground having their share of discord because somebody doesn't want to wear a mask, because somebody doesn't believe that masks work. It doesn't matter what you believe. At the end of the day, if you call yourself loving a person, caring for a person, all right, then I'll just put on a mask. I mean, I had to come to that realization early on. I started off, it's not that big of a deal because it was still over in that other country, even though it was already in our country, we learned later. Selfish, right? So somebody's selfish actions surrounding this ongoing pandemic is causing strife in the household. Somebody's stinginess, cheapism caused an argument not that long ago. I'm seeing individuals, both black, white, red, yellow, arguing because somebody thought that they were doing the right thing by just getting anything and everything for people without asking them what they truly wanted. So that caused strife. See, well, you wanted to celebrate the holiday, so you end up having all sorts of things associated with the pagan holiday. Come on. And then there are those individuals that it was peaceful. They didn't have the type of issues that other people had because they weren't associating themselves with all of this. What is causing the quarrels and fights among you? Don't they come from the evil desires at war within you? James 4:1. Some folks showed up at people's homes with an attitude. They showed up saying that nobody's going to tell me what to put on my face. They showed up talking about, I don't even like this one and that one, but because it's the season of giving, I guess I'll do. And they didn't do too much of anything. And folks picked up on it. And so now there's division. You would have been better off staying home, or better off keeping that video off. Or better off not even answering the door. Proverbs 10:12 says, hatred stirs up trouble. If you know you got hate going on for someone, why do you insist on trying to talk to them? Why do you insist on going over to their homes? We got people who, they know they got hate even at the workplace, but yet you still want to go over there and, have some small talk, a bit of fodder. Stop. The person knows at times that individuals can't stand them. Still in strife. Hatred stirs up trouble, but love forgives all wrongs. If I truly love someone who I claim I love, then okay, I forgive them and we move on peaceably. But you see, when I still got issue with you, and I know that you're not willing to do your part in forgiving and forgetting, what makes you think that I'm going to be going around you, if I got any good sense, stirring up some trouble? But if I don't have good sense, I'm going to come around you and I'm going to stir up trouble. I'm going to be your worst nightmare. You see, this is why for so many of you all, God says, I don't want you to be that one that's going around folks stirring up trouble. Matter of fact, it's a good thing that we're low contact, no contact. Some of you all, you want to force a round peg in a square hole. All because it makes you feel good so that you can go back and tell your friends and coworkers, see, I tried to work things out among the family. So that you could go and say, see, I did reach out. I did try to talk to her. She already, 9 times out of 10, that one that you reached out, she probably already tried some more with the family, and now God finally freed her, and now you want to be not the peacemaker, even though that's what you think, but you could be nothing but the devil's worker and don't even know it. That's why if you don't know everything about a situation, keep your mouth shut and stop talking about trying to bring people together. I remember being that one back in the day, watching my own grandmother trying to bring people together. And there were times where I know God spoke to her and told her not to be bringing people together, but she did it anyway. And guess what? Siblings was arguing among each other. And then even after the situations took place, they were still talking about their issues with each sibling to their spouses. Now their spouses had to deal with that. It would have been better if my grandmother had been listening to the Holy Spirit at times instead of listening to what? Her ego, her selfish desire, her tradition, her just wanting to love on some folk that didn't want to love on her. Because later on in life, how many folks ended up showing up at her funeral, her repast? And how many folks kept the peace, so to speak, long after she had passed away? You see, somebody says, no good deed goes unpunished. Well, the matriarchs and patriarchs who are about their own selfish gain, selfish reasoning, selfish ego, or what have you, they can be the devil's worker, not even knowing it. I was just trying to bring people together. I remember hearing her. She would be moaning and crying in her room. And the Lord was humbling her at times, letting her know, listen, this is not what I called you to, was to be disobedient. I understand what you're reasoning. Come on, somebody's even saying that now. I understand what so-and-so's reasoning was behind why she did what she did, but it caused strife. Come on. It caused strife. She knew those folks didn't have money, but yet she insisted on them bringing gifts. She knew that there were some individuals that were going through much financially, spiritually, mentally, but yet she still wanted them to come around. She knew, but sometimes, Lord Jesus, ego gets in the way. It's about me. It's about me. Look at the girl. She pointing to herself. The little child. Oh, I know somebody's going to buy something for me. You see? Even at the workplace. Oh, you didn't treat me like I wanted you to treat me. I wanted you not to talk about all the things that were going on at the workplace or how I wasn't doing a good job. But you insisted, huh? You just wanted to push the envelope. And you didn't even buy me a little gift for the holidays. So there's that selfish, self-absorbed manager who's going to kick somebody out next year, 2021. Look at him. Guy with the crown on his head, carrying a suitcase. He got his money, but he going to kick my man out because he didn't stroke his ego. He gave him a challenge. He called him out on his weak system, weak way of doing things, and he didn't appreciate it. There's people that's been in jobs that they should have long been fired themselves while they were kicking everybody else out. Your system doesn't work. Your order doesn't work. You need to catch up, read some books, look at the new way of doing some things. Because the old way obviously is not keeping all hands on the deck. Self-care is not selfish. Absolutely not. When you're looking out for your mental, your physical, and your spiritual. If I'm doing these sorts of things to keep myself from being around selfish people, that doesn't make me selfish. That makes me wise. Come on. Even God himself is calling people away and out of circles that are causing nothing more than discord. I need my self-care. I need my mental to be intact. I got a bunch of people I need to help. I can't be caught up with these folks that's talking about bow down to me and say that you're sorry to me and make me feel better. And I mean, my issue about whatever I'm going through shouldn't have been your issue. But since you marked me and didn't want me to talk to you or come around you or what have you, you see, that's fine. I'm good with it. Hallelujah. See, some folks, you're going to learn. You're going to learn. And some of you all, you've already learned that you don't need everybody around you. But the selfish one, the narcissistic one, look at my man with the crown. This time it's over his eyes. He's walking blindly. He's trusting that people are going to be under his feet to lift him up, to hold him up. But one day somebody says, I'm going to stop this. I don't know how I even got here. How is it that I got to a place where I am lifting somebody else up, but I'm not managing my own self-care in the process, and they're breaking me down. They're walking all over me. After a while, you're so used to people doing for you, for some narcissistic type of individuals, that you don't realize that one day they're going to find you out and they're not going to be there to catch you when you fall. Matter of fact, some individuals, they say, I'm getting tired of being played. Now I'm the one that's going to knock the walls down on this fool over here. See the image? My man got a crown on his head. And now he's pushing these tears down on this individual who's carrying a suitcase, a briefcase, I should say. God says vengeance is mine, but I know some individuals are weak in the flesh and they're going to end up turning this whole situation around. because they got tired of the greedy man, for instance. Proverbs 28:25, greedy man or greedy woman, greedy controlling mother, greedy controlling father. Give me, give me, give me. Honor, honor, honored. That's what you're supposed to do. Oh, but what have you done for me lately? I had a birthday. I had what? Come on, somebody. You start thinking about all of the holidays. You think about all the ways that folks could have got in contact with you. You think about all of the different things that people could have done, but they didn't. So it's like, why do you expect me to do something for you that you don't even do for other people? God says that, hey, we are at a place right now where strife is stirring up on that one who is evil, who is dark, who is greedy, who is selfish, but it doesn't have to be your strife. A greedy man stirs up strife, but the one who trusts in the Lord will be enriched. See, I trust in the Lord, and so I don't need you to celebrate my birthday, and I don't need a holiday or holidays. I don't need someone to say Merry Christmas to me. I don't even celebrate the traditional Christmas. I don't need someone to say Happy New Year's. I've been like this long before my grandmother and my mother was taken off this planet. Because sometimes people assume that you just started these things because, well, your dear mother, your dear, grandmother passed away or what have you. I always was like this. The only reason why I even acknowledged holidays was because when I had children, real small children, I didn't want them to be going through some personal issues about the holidays. So I told them about some things concerning the holidays. But I also let them know that this isn't something that your mother is going to be in support of. And I'm not going to be the one that's going to be inviting extended relatives over to my home. I mean, when I lived in Pittsburgh, I'm just giving you all some examples just to encourage some of you all who are so tired of the arguments and the fussing and the fighting and being bent out of shape about, people, and you just want a peaceful life. I remember when I was living in Pittsburgh that there were so many relatives around. So, it was assumed by extended relatives that, well, you just go over somebody's house and so and so is going to have Christmas and so is going to have Thanksgiving and all that. Well, that's in the box thinking. And that's what was put upon some individuals so that they could not be independent, so that they could not have their own individual thought. It's just assumed. It is expected. It's what you do if you want from us. Okay, but I don't want from you. Now what? See, I was when I started putting the pieces of the puzzle together about the selfish and the ego and the greedy and the drunk and the, hater and all of that. I started putting those pieces of the puzzle together when I got my own place. And folks were like, oh, you never invite me, or, oh, well, you hardly come over, or, all that. Well, that's because I realized who I was dealing with, you see. Once you come to that revelation, see, and I didn't come to the revelation on my own. There was much fasting, there was much prayer. There were individuals who had told me why they weren't coming around. See, these were individuals that had already been around the family for many, many years before I caught the news. And I said, oh, that's why this family friend doesn't show up any longer. Ah, used and abused. And this is why these sisters don't tend to get along because of the lying that goes on. Oh, and this is why the siblings don't tend to get along as well as they could or should because the mother's playing favorites. And I started sitting back, see, because I had time on my hands. But when you don't make that kind of time to analyze your situation, you don't make that kind of time, to just ask questions like, why is this so-called family tradition even here? Why is it that certain people are being honored when they're nothing more than pimps, players, and hustlers? Why are we expected to go around individuals who, look, I don't smoke and I don't drink, so why do I have to be in the presence of so-called family members or friends? And I say so-called because some of those people weren't even family. They were just family friends. And some individuals weren't even worthy of the titles that they had because, or given, because simply put, they were not decent, nice, respectful people, and they were always expecting someone to forgive, but yet they weren't forgiving. They were anticipating that everything was going to be peaceful, even though they had strife, hate, anger, unresolved issues in their hearts when they would come around. And I picked up on the negative energy. I picked up on the dark energy. I understood why people were smoking like they were smoking and drinking like they were drinking and using drugs like they were using drugs, because dysfunction was telling them that they were really functional. Dysfunction was saying that because I'm your dear mother or dear father, therefore you are to respect me and honor me and come around me. Dysfunction was running the show. And any of us functional individuals who were pushing back on dysfunction, they were saying we were stirring up strife, and that we were ungrateful, and that we were ignorant, and that we were rude, and we were stupid, or, simple acting, and we didn't know. And they started taking all of this and spreading it around the family so that you all wouldn't listen, because God knew, and so did the devil, that eventually I was going to be writing books and I was going to be speaking about these issues. And so were many other relatives. So to shut us up early on, they were painting this just negative picture of who we were. So now we got this generation that's coming along, and some of them don't even know that I do what I do. But if you really want to know your mama and you really want to know your daddy, you just keep on listening. God will show you which audios and videos are most relevant so that you won't repeat the dysfunction, so that you won't repeat the cycle. A troublemaker plants seeds of strife. A gossip separates the best of friends. Some of these individuals, and this is Proverbs 16:28, they use the family events, the family holiday celebrations, the family reunions to spread some gossip. They didn't know my grandmother like that. They didn't know my mother like that. They didn't know me like that. We had individuals who were telling us some things about some of my extended relatives, parents and grandparents. And meanwhile, it's like, did you ever go over to her house? You don't know her like that. You don't know her relatives like that, her in-laws. But you see, gossip. And they use gossip, once again, so that truth doesn't show up. And truth will separate, truth will conquer, truth will divide, but truth will also do what? Set you free. Sometimes we do have to go through strife, and for some of you all, you're going through strife, but for all the right reasons, though. My God showed me that many times in my lifetime. He said, I know this hurts. I know you're tearful. I know you're upset, but you got to go through this strife if you want to get that freedom. You want to be emotionally free from this man, don't you? Yes, well, you want to find out some truths about this woman or this man, right? Yes, well, you thought you wasn't going to have an argument. You thought that there wasn't going to be silent treatment. You thought that there wasn't going to be discard from the narcissist. Lord Jesus. You're going to go through something now. If you want truth, any of you all, if you really want the kind of cutting truth that I speak on this channel, you got to go through some fires, honey. I had to go through fires to get to this truth. I had to spend a lot of time away from family members and friends in order to get the kind of truth that I speak on this channel. It was not easy. And at times it's still not easy, because now I'm dealing with strangers, and I'm dealing with coworkers, and I'm dealing with, individuals who are in various industries. I move around in workplaces. And so, you see, I come across all sorts of people. So I'm so far away and beyond family subjects these days. But I know that we still got individuals who are still caught up in family dramas and traumas, and that's why I return back to these messages. My child, do not reject the Lord's discipline, and don't get angry when he corrects you. Proverbs 3:11 through 13. Now, sometimes strife brings about some correction, and there's no arguing about it. The woman told you the truth about yourself, man. There's that truth that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for even arguing with you because you're real, man. You are for real. Exactly. So why are we doing this right now? Because you don't want me to speak any more truth. You want to confuse me. You want to get me all flustered, bent out of shape, so that way nothing else comes out of my mouth. But God's keeping me stable. He's keeping me focused. I'm concentrating right now. And no matter what this man is saying to me, whether he's cussing, fussing, acting ugly, I know the truth is that I'm here to help. I know that the truth is that I'm here to bring about correction. And he can keep on talking about he don't like the way I sound, or he don't like the way that women tend to be, or he don't like, come on, because some folks, I have come across these folks in comment sections. So you want to put a bunch of negative comments all over, the video or audio or what have you, because you want people to pay attention to your negativity rather than the positivity or the truth or whatever it is that I'm speaking to that hurt you. Oh well, delete, delete, block, block. Right? We're not going to play these little games because we got some immature people who, you said this about me and I don't like it. The Lord corrects those he loves just as parents correct the child they delight in. Happy is the person who finds wisdom, the one who gets understanding. I'm about to step on someone's toes because I told you there's some strife concerning COVID. We talked about the family holidays. That was an easy subject. Some folks were okay with that. But now this is where they're going to go off and do something else, because there's some truths that's been spoken to you in media about COVID, and you got some argumentative relatives who don't want to believe that they ever had COVID. You got some argumentative relatives who they aren't tying all of their symptoms to the fact that they had COVID. And in this particular article, Eat This, Not That, there's 98 symptoms. 98 symptoms that coronavirus patients say they've had. Some of them, though, didn't know that they had coronavirus, and those symptoms are still lingering. Okay? Some folks knew that they had coronavirus, but they never got tested because they didn't want to know that that's what they had. But yet they were around a bunch of family members and friends. And so now there's this strife that is taking place or will take place because there's the prophetic gifting that I have that I'm seeing things happening in the future. For you listening today, you don't see it, but you may see it as the days grow longer since your last Christmas event and now somebody's sick. Or you see it after the New Year celebration and the days, become further and further away since the last time we gathered, but yet somebody is sick. Somebody has some strange symptoms. It's not always about the coughing or, the fever or the body aches or the loss of sense of smell or taste, right? So I'm scrolling through for those of you all who are able to look at the video. Okay, this was something that I had. And I didn't know that it was tied to one of many symptoms associated with coronavirus. Now, why would I bring this up? Because once again, we got individuals who they don't want to be honest. They don't want to tell the truth. They don't want to let you know that they were feeling some kind of way when they last talked to you or saw you. But one of the things that causes strife is a personality change. See, all before, somebody was okay. Somebody was all right with being around family. But now there's this next holiday event and there's a personality change. 41 people surveyed reported this symptom. Scientists are studying the rare but potentially severe personality changes that COVID-19 may cause in patients. So if you are that one or somebody that you know starts having these personality changes and they're saying it's something else and it doesn't have anything to do with, but it's coupled with all these other symptoms, it's safe to say that somebody is sick. And sickness isn't always, like I said, about somebody's stomach hurting or their head hurting. It's the way they're talking or the way they're very snippy or they have an attitude, you see. Change of life, menopause, andropause, along with COVID-19 symptoms. Lord Jesus, we got a person who got a lot of strife that's showing up and showing out. It's not about the argument over that little thing. Somebody going through something inside their body. According to an article published in Science News, symptoms related to the brain are often overlooked as medical professionals focus on the what? Physical aspects of the virus. However, depression, personality changes, and confusion are some long-lasting symptoms that some COVID-19 sufferers may experience. Notice, long-lasting symptoms. So she's not coughing and she don't have the body aches and she don't have the chills and she's taking some medicine, for some issues, whatever they might be, right? But then there's this other stuff that's going on with her. Could it be tied to COVID? You see? And so people will argue. They'll fuss. They'll fight. They'll have issue. You nothing but a troublemaker coming up here telling me about some COVID and blah, blah, blah. Can't we just, well, no, I'm not trying to do that, but you're acting some kind of way with us. But selfishness, right? Didn't want to get the treatment. Didn't want to sit down long enough to figure out what all these symptoms might mean. Might be tied to. Going around people talking about this mask don't work. I ain't worried about it. But hey, the mask keeps spit from falling on your face. Come on. The mask keeps you from smelling somebody's virus that's in their mouth, their sickness, their bad breath. I mean, don't say that masks don't do nothing. I had people come through here with that foolishness. Listen, mask is doing all sorts of things. I know some folks don't want to hear that, but they're doing all sorts of things. I don't have to smell your breath and you don't have to smell mine. How about that then? If you don't want to believe that it's keeping out at least some of those particles related to COVID. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. That's why I'm doing it. I'm putting the mask on because, hey, I value people. And I don't want them to ever say that Nicole gave them anything. Because, see, that's going to cause some strife with some folks. Let somebody show up with that infection, with that disease, with whatever. They going to look at you who didn't want to wear the mask, and all hell going to break loose. See, you ain't going to blame me for nothing because I'm putting my mask on. My personal feelings, bias, whatever. Look, I'm putting a mask on because you ain't going to blame me for nothing. And God don't like ugly. And some folks is downright selfish and ugly. And they're causing all sorts of discord in their family over this foolishness. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. I'm doubting that some people are truly believers. Ever since COVID showed up, I'm telling you, it's been a test. It's been a test on whether people are really sold out for God. It really has. And the way some people have treated me and they call themselves believers on and off the internet, I said, no, honey. Because you talking like the devil, you acting like the devil, you up to the devil's business. Galatians 5:15, but if you bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. Sometimes I'm avoiding certain subjects just because I know individuals are so rude and so arrogant and so mean-spirited, you see. And so, it's like, Lord, should I? And the Lord at times, for a long time, spoke to me and said, don't even bring these subjects up. But then there came a point where the Lord said, now we're going to bring the subjects up. I don't know why the green light was given, but I went on and I took that green light. Because the truth has to come out. And sometimes it's going to be controversial. Sometimes it's going to be a bit upsetting. And what we're doing too is driving out a scoffer, because after a while a scoffer gets tired of being around people who speak too much truth to them. Proverbs 22:10, drive out a scoffer and strife will go out. I'm glad you're gone. Don't come back. You see, for some of you all, that's the way you felt. Don't come back to my YouTube. Don't come back to my house. Don't show up anywhere because I don't want to see you or be around you. And for some of you all, it's been peaceful ever since, hasn't it? Drive out a scoffer, and strife will go out, and quarreling and abuse will cease. So there we are, all these different symptoms: hormone imbalances, stressed out, been out of shape, unhealthy lifestyle. That'll cause some arguing and some fussing, and I don't want to be around people, and I can't stand people. I mean, all sorts of things have been tied, even COVID toes. Some of you all like, what? This what? 59 people surveyed reported COVID toes, an emerging symptom of the virus that may not be as common as the other symptoms, such as a cough or fever. COVID toes occur when the toes develop a rash or lesions, according to Huberto Choi, MD, from the Cleveland Clinic. Rashes on the skin are common with viral infections such as COVID-19. The survey found that 59 participants had this strange side effect after being infected with coronavirus. If somebody knows something is going on with their body and they got it covered up and we don't know what that something is, that's going to put them in a foul mood too. Some individuals, they don't feel comfortable talking about, I got a rash on my skin, I got COVID toes, I got, an infection, and I'm using, some Visine to cover up that infection. They're feeling some kind of way, see? And so suddenly there's these arguments that come out of nowhere, but their body is going through a lot and they're not telling anyone. And you're thinking that it's about the gift and it's really about the foot pain. Or it's about the COVID toes, or it's about the lump in their throat that they felt that morning that you don't see because they're wearing a turtleneck, or the cracked dry lips, but see, they put some Vaseline and they put, or maybe they put some lipstick to cover it up, you see, and you weren't really paying that close attention to their lips. You see, so all of this stuff is going on with people. See, you can even cover up your lips with some lipstick, having a low blood oxygen level. Woke up and your lips are blue looking. Oh well. See, people covering. The Lord showed me in the spirit, they're covering up their little secrets tied to physical pain and issues that they're going through. And that causes strife. When I find out your secret, and I know you've been around me and you knew you had all this going on with you, you think I'm going to be nice to you? You see? Bulging veins. Who would have thought, right? Hand and wrist pain. See, these are things that come out later on, possibly, if the ambulance needs to be called. But it's very easy to keep all this a secret. But God's exposing all these things these people have experienced. But yet they were around their families. And they said, oh, I'm not going to say nothing. See, this is the epidemic right now, is secrets. Secrets of what that body is doing. What that body is telling you. And you don't want to tell nobody. You don't want to stay home. That post-nasal drip, we couldn't keep that one a secret. I remember that one. Lord Jesus. All of our noses at the workplace dripping, throwing up. Nobody could keep that a secret any longer. They could keep the body aches and the chills, but then I started noticing people were being a bit snippy with one another. I said, something's going on. Next thing you know, people started walking real slow. I remember myself, I had itchy skin, you see, some mood swings too. I said, oh, it must be about my menstrual at the time. I don't deal with menstruals now, but at the time, I said, maybe that's what it's all about. When I looked back at all of those symptoms, I said, Jesus, I had COVID and didn't know it. My coworkers had COVID. We was just passing it around. Look at all of this. 98 symptoms that still lingered around for some individuals. At least 5, 10, 15 of these symptoms still lingered around long after the major COVID symptoms had went away. I don't know what it is. I just don't have the energy like I used to. I don't know what's up with this shakiness. And then on top of that, I'm starting to get this dandruff and stuff all in my scalp that I never really suffered with before. And my ears is clogged and I gained some weight. And you see, people start thinking about some things. Lower back pain, abdominal pain, headaches, and that carrying on, phlegm, mucus, can't taste, can't smell, heartburn, you name it. And all of these things that people so easily hide. Hair loss and all sorts of things. Night sweats. Oh, that just must be menopause. But it could also be some other things too. Oh, the heart palpitations. Oh, I just got anxiety. Yeah, well, I would have anxiety if I had all of this stuff going on with my body. And anxiety will bring about some arguing. You will have some difficulty sleeping when you're in strife. Your head will hurt more often. You're not going to want to do your hobbies or participate in all sorts of things like you once did. Shortness of breath and muscle and body aches and fatigue and you name it. All of these different things show up, but they're very easy to hide. And so what you thought was just about he didn't wash his hands at the sink like he should have, or she, just upset me so bad about, the gift she bought. But could there be other things going on? God spoke to me and said that individuals who showed up in various areas, contracted the illness, didn't talk about the illness, didn't talk about the symptoms, had their share of arguments when they were found out that they were in these different places and they contracted the virus, as you can see on the screen. They weren't staying 6 feet apart because that's my buddy, that's my best friend. They weren't very good about cleaning things, even like your glasses. See, talking to people without masks and spits flying. They were touching public payment devices with their bare hands and didn't clean their fingers. Didn't think about disinfecting their hands. I just thought about this the other day when I went to the store. I'm like, wait a minute, I did have to press some buttons and I touched doorknobs. I went around my house, I started cleaning off doorknobs and light switches. People sticking stuff right into their cabinets from the grocery store, not washing hands. They're sharing food. Well, that's my buddy. Well, you know what? Your buddy, you don't know if your buddy was in a crowded place. You don't know if your buddy was social distancing. You don't know if your buddy is one who don't like masks. You get just strolling around, going into stores and stuff. You don't have to go there, but you go there anyway. You don't tell your relatives that that's where you've been, was at the mall and was standing in a line. You live with somebody who's an essential worker and they're coming in and they're not being as clean. They're being lax at home. You're handling money. Still about that cash. You see, people creating all sorts of traumas because they've been places and doing things that they shouldn't have. I'm just strolling through. Back at the gym. Touching everything that everybody else touched. Touching elevator buttons. Taking your gloves, and I saw health workers do this, so I'm just enlightening some of you all. They take them gloves and they touching different things and they don't wash them gloves or they don't change those gloves. Even a healthcare worker told me that that's what was going on. Not washing the face masks, visiting the public places, using those child care centers and babysitters. It takes a whole lot of trust in people, don't it? Wearing a mask improperly, touching somebody's face mask, touching your own face mask, taking your mask off. Incorrectly. Letting kids play with each other. This right here is a big one. You see the bottom of her shoes? She done put her shoes up in her chair. You know people spit on the ground. You know dogs do their thing on the ground, but yet you wear your shoes all over your house. And back in the day, they used to say, "Oh, you so funny acting. I'll leave my shoes on." Well, you ain't coming back to my house because I don't play that. You're not going to walk the dirt all over my house. And then you got that one who she like to fold her feet under her and put her shoes or her sandals or her sweaty feet all on your furniture. The end of the virus will come with help from us all. Whenever the time comes when we see a relaxation of the present lockdown, it will still be up to all of us to ensure we're doing everything within our capabilities to prevent transmission until a vaccine becomes widely available. That was back before we had the vaccine. But yet, people are still doing these things, except they're even worse because the vaccine is here. So you see, Leah Groth, she wrote the article, 25 Ways You Could Catch COVID Right Now. If you want to go back to that website and check it out, eat this, not that. Dr. Fauci, he warned, the worst is still to come. The worst is still to come, saints as well as sinners. And this article, 4 hours ago, written December 27th, 2020. Okay? Secrets is going to bring about strife in the family. Secrets is going to cause all sorts of issues in the future because people are going to stop wanting to tell where they've been, what they've been doing, because they know folks aren't taking too kindly to this business of COVID. How are we going to deal with selfish people who want to get all defensive and angry and bitter and talk about me, and this is why I did it, and I just need to come out of my house sometimes, and you guys, you don't understand, and blah, 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 blah. Silence is golden. Silence is golden. This article appeared on powerpositivity.com. I'm not going to keep arguing with you about things that is causing all sorts of problems. But what I am going to do is I'm going to guard my heart. I'm going to go low contact. I'm going to go no contact. Okay? Someone has just said something terribly selfish. Let their words hang in the air as you gaze at them in silence for a few long seconds. You may have found out someone has done something terribly selfish. Pausing like this gives a selfish person a chance to hear their words again and process how you might have taken their meaning in a negative way. Don't leave them hanging too long, but make sure you let the silence speak your disappointment in their behavior. Okay? Because I get some people who come through here and say, well, what do I do after I done found out all this? I done found out this foolishness with this COVID. And then I done had my share of arguments already about this person doing what they were doing. I done had arguments about people and their selfish giving or not giving, and how I'm not going to do anything next year. Well, here we are. Here we are. We're talking about the solutions. That is not what is best for me. You can say that. This statement may sound selfish, but it reflects your assessment of what the selfish person has asked for, right? What they've done, what they've said to you. And it does what? It sets a boundary that you do not want them to cross. We need boundaries, saints as well as sinners. This is not what is best for me. It's not best for me to have you come in here not wearing no mask, going here, there, and everywhere, and you think you're invincible. If you care about me like you say you care about me, you say you love me, then come on now, show me. You went out there, you bought everybody else a gift, but you didn't think about me. Yet I did all these things for you. If you plan on celebrating Christmas, then okay, celebrate it then. Celebrate it by giving. If you plan on going out there to the New Year celebration and you plan on hooting it up over there at the bar and they don't care about nobody down there, then don't come home. You stay your butt at a hotel for 14 days in quarantine. I'm not taking your fun away, but what I am saying is you're not going to bring that here, because that's not what's best for me. That's not what's best for the family. I'm just giving you all some examples. It sounds like you want, is that right? Let's get really clear about what the selfish person is doing to you. When a selfish person talks, it is all about them. We notice with the narcissist. The narcissist is about me. It's about what I want. It's about what I'm going to do. Okay, so it sounds like you want to go here and you want to go there. Yes. Okay. So if that's what you want to do, this is what you're going to do. You're going to establish your boundaries. You see? You're going to go over to your mother's house. You know they don't believe in wearing masks. You know that they go here, there, and everywhere. Okay, stay over there at your mother's house. Oh, no, but I'm coming back and I'm going to do this and that. Okay, well, then I'll be gone until, you know, I feel it's safe to come back. Or we're just not going to be sleeping in the same room. Or I'm going to walk around the house with my mask on and make sure that I disinfect every doggone thing and spray Lysol up into the air. I don't like the smell of Lysol. Don't matter. You decided to go over there to your family's house and be around these individuals, right? So this is what's going to happen. I would like a turn to speak when you're done. A selfish person can monopolize the conversation, and unless you make your expectations clear, you might not be able to speak your mind. I would like a turn to speak when you're done. Okay, you done told me about where you been, what you doing, or what your plans are, or why you didn't buy what you claim you was going to buy, and whatever else. Okay, but when you're done telling me all of this, don't keep talking to keep from me talking, because I got something to say to you. Let's see if we can find a compromise, right? For us peacemakers, that's something that we are always looking for. Well, what's the compromise on this? A selfish person wants things their way and they aren't really thinking about your wishes. You may need to give a little ground, but you certainly shouldn't need to give up everything you want so that the selfish person can have things their way all the time. You see, I want to compromise. I want to reach a compromise. I don't want to argue with you. I want the selfish person got to tell you what they wanted. Now you're going to tell them what you want. Can you see that what you want is not in my best interest? Now, this is where you can break that down and let them know. See, I understand what you want, but see, this isn't in my best interest. It's in your best interest. And don't tell me that you're, trying to help the family by doing this, because I don't see where that's helping the family. Here's another statement. That doesn't work for me. How about? So, no, I don't think so. That doesn't work for me. But how about we do this instead? It's not about being controlling. It's about I'm still trying to reach that compromise. You gotta say what's in it for them too, you see. Otherwise, you're no different than the selfish person. You gotta state the reasons, the benefits. So let's talk about what's best for both of us. Let's talk about if we do this, then I'm not going to be sick. You're not going to be sick. The kids aren't going to be sick. If we do this, one thing about it, we are taking a stand. We're letting the family know we're not going to be, gullible. We're not going to be ignorant to what's really going on, you see. We're not going to be bringing our children over here knowing that we got people who play favorites, you see. So there it is right there. A lot of what we do with selfish people is communication, communication some more. And then when it gets to a point where we can't communicate anymore, we are not going to be talking. Because if it's not working, it's not, doing the types of things that you think it should do, your statement, your action or your lack thereof or what have you, then maybe it's just best not to keep bringing the subject up, right? Not to keep going around the person, not to keep, insisting that this is the way to do it, because then after a while, who's selfish now? So there we are. I thank you as always for taking time out of your busy schedule. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. We do welcome giving on this channel, and thank you. Blessings to you.